Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Two people were killed in a mass shooting that took place at a Christian school in Wisconsin.
We start with that breaking news from Madison, Wisconsin, a deadly school shooting.
A teenage girl opened fire inside a private Christian school just days before the school was going to close for Christmas. Here's what we know so far. A teacher and a teenager were shot and killed. 6 students are hurt. Police say the shooter, a 15-year-old girl who's a student at the school, is dead.
Our Charlie DeMar has been on the scene all night. Charlie, police revealed new information late tonight.
Joe and Erica, good evening. And as hard as it may be to imagine, police say that a second grader was the first person to call police after hearing those shots. And we now know that the shooting happened in a study hall with students from different grades.
Car 31 asking for the mass casualty box car.
A private Christian school, the site of a mass shooting 9 days before Christmas.
It is a sad day for Madison and for our country.
Police say 15-year-old high school student Natalie Rupnow, who went by the name Samantha, opened fire at Wisconsin's Abundant Life Christian School. She killed at least one teenager and a teacher. 2 others were critically injured.
It's sad, to be home and then somebody call you and said your kids' school in lockdown and shooting, and you didn't know where they are.
Hours after the shooting, several officers were seen removing the door from this Madison home in a search Police Chief Sean Barnes says is connected to the investigation.
Our detectives are working hard in the investigative process to find out as many answers as we can so that we can further prevent these things from happening, not only in this community, but in other communities around our country.
School administrators spent much of the day reuniting its students with their families.
We've joked around about how safe a 400 student-bodied school, Christian private school is, right? If it can happen here, it can literally happen anywhere.
CBS News has learned the shooter carried a 9mm pistol, the motive unknown. Dave Wagner is the former principal.
My heart grieves beyond words with them.
And police say they have searched the suspected shooter's family home, and at this point, they believe that she acted alone. Joe and Erica?
Well, Charlie, we have seen in other mass shootings that the shooter's parents have been held accountable, like in the Highland Park 4th of July shooting. Is there any indication that the 15-year-old shooter's parents could be facing charges?
Earlier tonight, police said that they believe that this 15-year-old, again, acted alone, but that her parents have been fully cooperative. They even allowed police to search their home. And at this point in the investigation, they do not face any charges. But as we do know, as with similar investigations, this is the very early stages, and there is still a lot more to come throughout this investigation, guys.
All right, Charlie, thank you.
According to the news organization Education Week, there have been 38 school shootings nationally this year that resulted in injuries or deaths.
In the last 4 years, school shootings have killed more than 200 people and injured more than 600. Those numbers are according to a CBS News analysis of the K-12 school shooting database.
Stay with CBS News Chicago for continuing coverage from Madison, Wisconsin on the school shooting. We will carry updates on our website and also in the morning.
Now, according to reports, 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who goes by the name Samantha at school, allegedly went into the study hall at the Abundant Life Christian private school in Madison, Wisconsin, pulled out a firearm, and allegedly began shooting into the study hall, taking the life of a teacher and one of her students, as a 7-year-old went out of the classroom to dial 911 to report the shooting. And as the shooting went on, 6 other people were wounded before Natalie Samantha Rupnow wound up taking her own life due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And law enforcement, on seeing the scene, basically started to do an investigation into this crime. And some believe that there is a manifesto as related to this crime that was published on social media. However, that hasn't been confirmed yet. And as the police have been doing their investigation into this mass shooting that took place at the Abundant Life School at Madison, Wisconsin, they are believing that it is an isolated incident in the number of mass shootings that have gone on here in America. However, when I take a critical examination of Samantha Rupnow's alleged behavior, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for children of the Quorum that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And Natalie Rupnow is fitting a disturbing trend that I've been seeing with a lot of younger children as related to the ongoing man and woman crisis in this country, in that these children, basically growing up in a culture of mass shootings, are learning that this is a way to express their anger towards the world, and learning that this is something that they believe that they have a right to do. Now, according to reports, they say that Natalie Rupnow possibly had a fixation on studying the cases of mass shooters and had a fixation on studying all of the mass shootings that have gone on, with a possible fixation on the Columbine mass shooting, because she had, according to reports, was wearing a similar KFMDM shirt, similar to what Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold wore when they participated in the Columbine mass shooting. And this mass shooting possibly took place in the same place that the Columbine mass shooting took place in, which was a study hall. So that could possibly be a motivation for participating in this murder, and a possible motivation for this murder. And she possibly participated in plans with this for malice aforethought, because according to some reports, this young woman basically was out with her father and participating at the gun range, learning how to shoot, and he could have unwittingly taken his daughter on to these gun range to learn how to shoot, and she was possibly making these plans to participate in this mass shooting. This is just me speculating based on my years of research on mass shooters as related to both the man and the woman crisis, and possibly this was something that she had been planning for some time, and possibly most people didn't know she was planning this, because usually when it comes to mass shooters, most mass shooters are usually males, and usually beta males who come from deeply troubled households, or households where they are raised by single mothers. That's usually the households that usually the males who participate in mass shootings coming from. But when it comes to this young woman, I have to wonder if she's possibly one of those individuals who got an obsession with mass shooters from reading all about them online. Because over the last 30 plus years, we've got a lot of records regarding mass shootings, and possibly this young woman, as she was reading about mass shooters, basically got a fixation on these mass shooters by going online unsupervised. And sadly, as she was going online unsupervised, she basically entered down one of these rabbit holes regarding mass shooters. And as she was going down this rabbit hole, it possibly became an obsession she possibly kept away from her parents, who were possible Christians, who were possibly looking to raise their daughter to learn about the Word of God and learn about not only the 10 commandments that God gave Moses, but the 2 commandments that Jesus gave everyone as related to loving the Lord with all your heart, soul, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. But sadly, this young woman didn't love her neighbors as herself and violated the 6th commandment by planning the murder of her classmates, because she got caught up in idolizing, according to some reports, these mass shooters. And as she got caught up in idolizing sociopaths like Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, sociopathic white supremacist mass shooters, this is possibly what led to Natalie Rupnow coming up with this plan to participate in this mass shooting, because she basically got online, again went down this rabbit hole, and as she went down this rabbit hole, it became an echo chamber to her, where she basically wanted to get more and more information on these shooters, possibly look to get more and more information on these shooters before coming up with her own plan to go out here and participate in this mass shooting. This is why having children go on the internet unsupervised is dangerous, because a lot of times what happens with these kids as they go online, again, they enter these echo chambers, and as they enter these echo chambers, they basically don't understand that a lot of the so-called information that they're getting is misinformation, and this misinformation, where they're hearing people on these boards like Reddit and many others going out here celebrating mass shooters and romanticizing the actions of these individuals. This misinformation can mislead them to believe that this is a course of action that is one that they should participate in. But this whole course of action in and of itself, this is antisocial behavior, and this is one of the whole things that is dangerous about, again, having kids online without parental supervision to teach them what they need to know about what really happens here with these situations. And what happens here is that you're taking people's lives, and again, putting people's lives in jeopardy, and possibly looking to take people's lives. This is what these children don't understand, that these were real people who lost their lives, and it's not your right to take anybody's life, no matter how you're feeling or what you've read online. This is what these children don't understand, because they're sitting there online, and again, online without supervision, online without guidance, online without support, online without parents to teach them. And that's really sad, because again, the great irony of this situation is that this girl was going to a private Christian school where this girl was supposed to be learning the Word of God and the gospel and learning how to love her neighbor as herself. But sadly, this girl had no love for her classmates. No, because she was again caught up in the idolatry of worshiping these possible shooters and other serial killers. And again, when I look at this whole situation, it basically is quite troubling, because it's all part of an ongoing disturbing trend that I'm seeing with both the man and the woman crisis, where I'm seeing these shooters getting much younger, and I'm seeing these shooters get much younger, and as they get much younger, they're basically looking to believe that this type of action is something that they believe they're justified to do, because they see many of the people who participate in these crimes getting coverage for their infamous behavior, and as they get attention for their infamous behavior, many children are growing up believing this is a way to get attention for themselves when they have low self-esteem, that this is the way to basically get attention for yourself as related to a life where you feel like you cannot accomplish anything. And since they feel like they can't accomplish anything, they look to go out here and participate in this crime of infamy, to basically go out in this blaze of glory. That's what I believe that some of them believe, and even worse, some of them are so raised to be so antisocial from the dysfunctional way they've been raised, like Ethan Crumbley, that they start thinking that participating in murder is a perfectly normal form of behavior based on what they've seen from all of the coverage these mass shooters get online. So I'm seeing a very disturbing trend of antisocial behavior emerging among our children due to the way that they continue to see these mass shootings continue to increase in frequency. And as they increase in frequency, that we're seeing that, again, most of these kids are thinking that this is okay, and that's a troubling, disturbing trend that shows, again, a complete implosion of the American family, that we see that this Christian girl from this Christian school, again, looked to violate the Word of God, because, again, she was so caught up in looking to get this infamy as related to what she believed to be an accomplishment. And it's, again, a troubling picture, again, that shows a complete collapse of the family. Now, there are some who want to say that the father could have been negligent as related to his gun, and I do believe he possibly was negligent as related to his gun, similar to the case of the woman the teenager who murdered her mother, all because she was going in her things. Again, the same thing could be here. Again, parental negligence, but this is not a gun issue. No, this is a family issue, and it's a family issue America doesn't want to talk about, because America doesn't want to talk about the way we've learned how to parent is leading to children not being functional children, but growing up to become these children of the corn who grow up like stalks. And as they grow up like stalks, they grow up to become adolescents who eventually are on the road to becoming men and women in crisis. And as these adolescents grow up, they go out here and act thinking, oh, they have a right to take someone's life, because they basically, again, saw people do this in the past and believe that this is a course of action they want to participate in. That's what happens when you have a complete breakdown of the family, and that's what we have in this country, a complete breakdown of the family in this country, because this is what's happening, is that the shooters are getting younger and younger, and they're going out here following in the footsteps of other mass shooters, because one of the trends I have been seeing is that these kids basically, again, they see mass shootings go on every day, and since they see that they're seeing this as a socially acceptable form of behavior, to either, one, get attention, or to resolve a problem, that's what these teenagers and young adults are learning. And sadly, this is getting progressively worse. And again, America doesn't want to acknowledge the way we parent children is a complete failure, because many in government and big business want to continue making big money. And since they want to continue making big money, they don't want to make changes to the way that they do business in order to accommodate the family, so that parents can have time to go out here and parent and supervise their children. Moreover, when it comes to those homes, have ability to supervise what your children are watching on the internet. We really do need some supervision of the internet, because again, your kids are exposed to all sorts of content, and the only way you can go out here and protect your children is to go out here and look out for what they're watching. I mean, a lot of these kids are sitting there being exposed to things like these misinformation about serial killers, misinformation about mass shooters, misinformation about people who were reprehensible, and they're idolizing these people as heroes because they feel powerless in their lives. They feel powerless about their life situation, and they believe the only way that they can take power is by going out here and participating in one of these violent acts, and believe that their only accomplishment in life is to go out here and participate in one of these infamous acts. And this is what is motivating kids today, and it's really scary. It's really scary because, again, it shows a further deterioration of things. This is something I talk about in many of my man crisis videos. I talk about this in depth as related to this complete deterioration of the family that everybody covers up because everybody wants to make this a gun issue. No, this is a family issue, because when you see the shooters getting younger, this shows you that the family here is falling apart, and it's falling apart due to, again, 60 years of America embracing feminism and New Age parenting that has basically led from us raising the kinder, gentler, softer males to winding up raising boys and girls who become men and women in crisis. And what's sad is that we're seeing not only a frequency of this violence, but seeing the shooters getting younger. And many in government don't want to acknowledge the crisis in this country as related to the complete collapse of the family, a complete collapse of the family as related to things, because what's happening here, again, is that we see, again, a girl at a Christian school who doesn't have God as her center, doesn't have God as her foundation, and is caught up in this idolatry and admiration of criminals. And that's what basically led to this great tragedy. But what's a greater tragedy is no one wants to acknowledge, again, I'll repeat it once more, the ongoing man and woman crisis in this country, or make those steps to change, because the only way we can get out of this situation is by changing the way we live life in this country. We have to change the way we live life in this country, because if these children of the corn continue to grow up like stalks, they're going to create chaos, and they're going to create chaos to make the entire nation unsafe for every American due to the dysfunctional way that they are being raised. And because they don't know how to solve problems, they're going to cause lots of more violence like this and take the nation from being a nation under God into becoming a chaotic nation in crisis. Now, if you want to learn how to identify the behavior of children of the corn and what leads to those children growing up to become dysfunctional to the point where they believe violence is a way of life, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Woman Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn why so many males are participating in antisocial behaviors like mass shootings, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to see me talk more about men's issues and the state of the American family, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam: The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam: The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, 1987. Learn lessons about life and teenage love in the 1980s in this coming-of-age John Haynes story. Get your copy of John Haynes 1987 in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.